it's in Leashtag area. It's by the YMCA. It has capacity for 25 vehicles. The plan is to receive these homeless people who live in their cars after 6 p.m. and provide them safe shelter in the area with some services up until 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., after 7 a.m., they're not supposed to stay in the parking area. There will be 4 staff members from this non-profit organization, Jewish Family Service, JFS, the abbreviation. They'll be on site to provide security and service. The people who will be utilizing this using this program, will be pre-screened at an off-site location. Walk-ins and drive-ins will not be permitted. Everybody would have some sort of a pre-screening, background check, everything. The staff members on site will know everybody that is there, that is going to be using the service. And this agreement will be presented to, this whole program will be presented to council later this month in January 22nd on a regular meeting. There is a public forum for the program tomorrow in the afternoon, in the evening, 6 to 8, at the community center, that people with the knowledge of how the program was initiated, detailed information about how it's going to operate, all the questions and myths about the program, they'll know the answers to all of them, and they'll be there tomorrow. Some important questions that I thought would be good to have the answers for. Obviously, first, where it's going to be located. As you can see, it's there's an access at Cold Gardens Drive. This yellowish area here is where the program will be. The Leashtag Commons, north of the YMCA. Why do we need this program? On October 2018, following the lead of the state, City of San Diego, a shelter crisis was declared by the city. In November last year, council approved an agreement and a final plan about the program. And as said, in January 22nd, the detail of the program will be presented to City Council. Is the city or Leashtag Foundation paying for the program? No, it's grant funded, HEAP funding. I'm not sure what it stands for, but the city or the residents or the Leashtag Foundation are not spending anything. The only thing that I noticed is that the property is being leased to the city by the Leashtag Foundation, and the city is leasing it to the JFS for them to operate. Because of the indemnification clauses and the operating clauses, they have to have some sort of a lease agreement with the city. But apparently there is like a $1 lease agreement and then another $1 from city to the non-profit organization. Other than that, it doesn't have any cost to the city or to the resident. This was, I thought, one of the most concerning questions, so I tried to, copy everything that I could find about how are people enrolled. People will contact the program through a phone number or through the web page. Then they'll be connected to a program manager, a case manager, somebody that will meet them. They'll go discuss the situation. There is a pre-screening. They go through rounds of background check. They should meet certain criteria of working the vehicle, meet the guideline. They should not have any kind of a previous felony or anything or issues like that. Apparently there are prohibitions against doing some sort of a drug test. So I think they cannot be screened for drugs, the way I read it. But after they go through the whole process, and they're gone through the background check, if they're eligible, they'll get some sort of a entrance admission, I don't know, some sort of a tag or badge or something that they can arrive at the facility after 6 p.m. Drug or alcohol use, obviously, it's not permitted in the program. As mentioned, drug testing is prohibited, but the managers and the security staff on site will observe everything, and if there is any kind of an issue, they'll be able to disqualify the person from the program. What happens if somebody who is not pre-screened or evaluated or their case is not reviewed show up and wants to enter the park area? As mentioned, this 25 is a very limited capacity, and everybody will be pre-screened. If somebody shows up without any kind of a pre-screening, they will not be admitted, they will not be allowed to enter the site. It would just be information that will be provided to them to how to enroll. They basically contact the program and find a case manager that will review their case and see if they qualify. Community safety, as mentioned, there will be 4 staff members, security guard. Everybody, as mentioned, will be background checked. Staff members on site will monitor the situation. Sheriff's office will be available if anything happens that their support is needed. The park is gated, so it's not like it's open, come in anytime, leave anytime. It will be controlled access, closed circuit TV, the whole deal. So there has been a lot of concerns, as you know, about the safety concerns about the situation. So the city staff, the program that they planned, they're trying to basically plan for everything in advance. Obviously, there might be things that would happen that are not foreseen, but at the moment, the city staff and the program operator, the JFS, they're trying to basically plan for everything in advance. Where do they go during the day? Obviously, the plan is these guys, with the support that they're receiving from the city and from the program, will be able to, better take care of their life and somehow find at some point soon a residence for themselves, and basically will not need the program anymore after. How long will it run? The program, the funding will be available up until May of 21. Initially, the evaluation will start after 3 months, and then 4-month increments after, to see how the program operates. With that said, I'm open to questions, and with the information, with the limited information I have, I'll try to respond. If not, I can collect more info and come back.
Commissioners, if we have 5 public speakers, if you don't mind, I'd like to hear them first.
Definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, we have 5 speakers and 1 speaker slip from John Carlson, who is in opposition but doesn't wish to speak. First speaker is Julie Thunder, followed by Donna D. Benedetto.
Can we use this? Great, okay.
Please state your name and that you are a citizen of Encinitas.
Can that happen at city council meetings? Thank you. My name is Julie Thunder. I'm a citizen of Encinitas, a resident of Cardiff. Mr. Bandigan, I don't know you, and I'm happy to meet you, and I can tell this isn't your fault, but I am shocked at how little attention has been paid to this. We were told there would be a presentation, and you clearly, and I understand somebody else was supposed to present it, and you clearly don't know what's going on here. So I'm going to try to go from memory from the slides and update you guys at what our city is trying to do to you and all of us who live here. They're trying to bring in a regional homeless parking lot. They're trying to bring it to the city that has one of the lower homeless counts in all of North County. They had to use all of North County numbers, stretching out all the way to Escondido, San Marcos, Vista, Carlsbad, Fallbrook, Oceanside, in order to qualify for this grant. They have to accept people from all over the county, and that whole thing about Megan's Law, this is why you guys come into play, in my opinion. And this is why I assumed we were here with the Safety Commission. Because the people coming to this lot, the only, the only screening they do is by running their name through Megan's Law. There's no social security number requirement. They say there's a driver's license requirement, but a friend of mine called today to ask if her friend from Guatemala could go through the lot. Sure, she doesn't have a driver's license. Sure, no problem. So they are, I'm just asking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoever the guy, all of you, to open your hearts and minds to what's really happening and not just listen to your city council. Because something is happening here. Why would Encinitas be stuck with a regional homeless parking lot? And I know each one of you know what happens in cities that do this. I'm just going to assume you've already done your research, knowing that this is coming tonight. And I'm sorry, none of that was meant personally, but if I spend my night, I have company at home, and I have dinner being made by my daughters right now, and I took away the time to come here to listen to someone that frankly doesn't know what's going on. He's reading and guessing. So I'm sorry, this is not anything personal, it's just my sheer frustration that my city is bringing a regional homeless parking lot here, and I don't even live in the neighborhood, and I'm this upset about it. And that I took my time, and nobody put any effort, it feels like nobody put any effort into this. So, thank you. Sorry, I'm not mad at either one of you personally. It's just very frustrating. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thunder.
Next speaker is Donna Di Benedetto.
Hi, I'm Donna Di Benedetto. I live in Encinitas. I live walking distance to the leash tag site, literally less than a block away. Lived there for 36 years, been a resident in the same house for 36 years, and my mind was blown when I found out about this parking lot. We found out about this parking lot on nextdoor.com, this funky little website. Knew absolutely nothing about this plan until, what was it, a week before the November 20th. And the only reason we found out is because somebody found out about a closed session meeting, and that person found out about it and just posted something like, hey guys, do you know what's going on? And at Leash Tag, there's going to be a parking lot. All right, so that's that. Also, of what Julie said, nobody else wanted this program. JFS presented this to every city in North County. Nobody wanted it. Encinitas said, we'll take it, and we've got a lot of really smart people. We organized a group, North County Citizens Coalition, since this whole thing started. We're at least 60 people, got almost 4,000 people on a petition against this thing. We got 800 people on a social media site against this thing. On the nextdoor.com has blown up with this, and there's thousands of posts, 80% of which are against this thing. Nobody knows about it. We all talk to our neighbors about it. Nobody knows anything about it. And when they find out, especially my neighbors, their mind is blown. Build it and they will come. Leash Tag has, or JFS has said in their contract, limited to 25 parking spaces. Well, it's like your mom saying, there's no walnuts in those chocolate chip cookies. You know, build it and they will come. Yeah, maybe there's a limit to 25, and nobody, at least that I've spoken to, believes that there aren't going to be people from all over. LA is advertising this thing and telling people to come down here. So if you think the traffic isn't going to be impacted by this, then I've got some waterfront property in Kansas to sell you. So people are going to be coming and going at peak rush hour. I don't know if I'm going to have time to pull up the thing on the flash drive that I brought, but I took a look at the traffic impact report from 2016. And maybe, if you don't mind, can we just pull up a couple of those? Let's pull up traffic one.
One.
Yes, please. that LOS, oh, remind me, now I'm a little nervous, so I forget, what is it?
Level of service.
Level of service. And these are graded A through F, like as if you were in school. And here's, I circled on 7 pages of the 2016 Traffic Impact Report, the streets that will be mostly used. When people leave Quail Gardens Road, they're going to go on Encinitas Boulevard, Leucadia Boulevard. They might hop onto the freeway, probably going to go down to the coast. They might go up to El Camino Real if they've got a job at a coffee shop, whatever. So we look at these, every single one of those streets, and this is projected 15 years. Now this was done in 2015, so now we're really, do the math. It's not 15 years ahead. But all of these that I've circled on 7 different pages here, all with the streets that will be heavily impacted, are all Ds, Es, and Fs. And this was all long before. Now, like I said, it's only limited to 25 cars plus staff that will be coming in and out at rush hour on a 2-lane street with no turn lanes. Now, first it was Saxony, which is already crazy traffic.
Excuse me, ma'am, our buzzer isn't working. You are
okay.
technically over your time.
I think I've made my
Can
point.
you close?
Yes, thank you very much. I think I've made my point. But to think that there aren't going to be more people coming in, even if they're not part of the program, is very naive. There are going to be more cars. They're going to go parking will be a problem. Bicycling, we're a cycling city. Cycling safety has to be considered here.
Okay,
Build
well,
it and
thank
they
you
will
very
come.
much.
They'll be here.
Our next speaker is Krista Curtis, followed by Sheila Cameron.
Hi, my name is Krista Curtis, and I am a resident of Encinitas, and I live in Cardiff. And like Julie, I think every single member of the community is going to be affected by this law. It's not the fact that I just live next door because I live far away, but I walk the rail trail every single day. I go downtown every single day, and over the last 2 months, I've seen an increase in homeless people everywhere. And like Donna said, if you build it, they will come. We know that this is what's going to happen. If you use common sense and logistics on the plan that they continue to try and tell us that they're going to propose, as though, only a certain ideal client, these 25 cars are going to show up to the parking lot. Get in the real world, that's not how it works. The homeless people that are hearing about it in LA, in Berkeley, in San Clemente that are leaving the lot that were there, have no idea their ideal, narrow, supposed most ideal customer that they're going to serve at this parking lot. What are they going to do when they turn them away and they said they don't qualify? We've already seen camps now being set up at our parks. As Julie mentioned, or Donna mentioned, how many people that have found out about it are against it. And that's not all the people that we're trying to notify. There are so many people that still do not know. This is way too fast, way too cramming it down our throats with no notice, no proper presentation here. I cannot believe that the city is going to do this to the residents. Every one of us should be outraged. Every single person, and all of us, it's not just 60, it's over 100 active people on our Facebook group and many more on Nextdoor, and we are going to get to every single person that we can before next Wednesday to be at the council meeting to tell the council that we don't want this, but this is a terrible idea. It's not safe, and it's not good for our streets or the community.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sheila Cameron.
Good evening, Traffic and Safety Commissioners. This is both a traffic and safety concern. This isn't going to affect just Saxony, as you've heard. But once those 25 or maybe 30 people get into the lot, what are all those other people going to do who are lined up all along Saxony? Well, they're probably going to pitch a tent or just camp for the night. This is an issue that affects everybody in this city. We are going to become the North County target, the Mecca for the homeless, and it's already started. If you really want to understand this issue, please read my article that'll be the Community Forum in the North County Times on Friday the 17th, next Friday. I I feel like I need to apologize for staff. I feel bad that you kind of get stuck with this presentation. It's clear there was a lot of misinformation here, and it's clear that this staff member kind of gets stuck and does not know or understand. This should have been agendized so that we could really, you could really see what is going on and you could understand it. I hope that you will not rubber stamp this to say that you think it's a positive thing or anything like that to be done in the city. I've been here for 45 years. I helped incorporate this city over 30 years ago. I've probably been involved in at least 1,000 issues. And of course, I was a former mayor and council person. And before that, I was served on the CAB, for those of you who remember when we had those. I think it needs to be understood what a commission is. And a lot of you who haven't been here as long as me maybe won't remember. The commissions were created with volunteers from each community with the purpose of supporting and representing the citizens, not the city council. You are appointed by the city council, but you report to us, not to them. You're not on this commission to say whatever the city council wants. You are not on this commission to swallow everything staff gives you. Absolutely not. Because staff works for us and it works for you. And what I have watched happen to the commissions over the years is more and more staff feeds you information. Half the time you don't even have input. You just go, oh yeah, okay, if the council wants that, we'll do it. Please prove me wrong. And please do not go along with this. And please read my article on Friday so that you understand what the hell is going on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner.
Our next speaker is Vera Heidolf, followed by Jeff Horton.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Vera Heidolf. I'm a resident of Encinitas. I live on Saxony Road, close to, actually a stone's throw away from the proposed site. When I first came to Encinitas 15 years ago, I was so excited about these beautiful poinsettia fields. Everyone who visited said I lived in paradise. Funny we have it on our emblem. I'm now imagining the poinsettia replaced on our emblem by a tent or a parking lot. And I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed that we haven't come to a better way to find a solution to the homeless problem, but instead we're shoving a regional problem down the throats and into the backyards and the front yards and the whole city of a town who's done a decent job at preventing it, but now is going to be thwarted with a much larger problem. So I guess our question is, how can we stop this and how can we convince you folks of the Traffic and Safety Commission that this impacts traffic and safety, which have been cleverly circumvented by declaring a so-called fake crisis. I'm sorry to call it fake, but it really is fake. We do not have a crisis. By the way, I'm a doctor. If I have a crisis, if I think you're gonna die, I'm pulling all hands on deck and we're doing CPR. We're giving you blood. We're doing everything we can to save you. We are not waiting 13 months and planning and having secret, quiet, closed-door meetings. So for this crisis, we have concerns not because we don't like homeless people. We have concerns because we worry about public health. No one's talked about Hep A. Hep A is a very big problem in homeless communities. Maybe the folks who are in their cars don't have Hep A. But as a veterinarian, I worry about public health. I worry about these things. In our HOA across the street, we had people, homeless folks, jumping our fence, our gate, using our pool, breaking our sinks, doing naughty things in our hot tub. We caught them on video. That was before we had thousands coming to our city, which is going to happen. Is that my bell? No. So my question is, who's going to carry the liability for injuries or damages maybe on the property, which they're a little bit more worried about, but there are more people off the property. They have security there, but what happens when they leave? When they hit somebody on the road? We had a
drunk driver on the other side of Quill Gardens, a homeless person, curtains in their car, hit somebody head on Saturday morning, Sunday morning. What's going to happen? Who's going to be responsible? When this piles up, is it going to be the city? This could have been prevented. Let's try and prevent something that is preventable. Just because they circumvented environmental impact report and a traffic report with this crisis declaration does not mean that's the right thing to do. Just because you can do it doesn't mean we should do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Next speaker is Jeff Horton.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for volunteering for this. I know this is a tough crowd tonight. This is my first traffic meeting I've ever been to. And before this happened, I'd never been to a City Hall meeting. Ever since then, I've been to every single meeting I can get my hands on because I have vested interest in this. So homeless crisis, yes, there is a homeless crisis in our country, but there's not one here. We can go over the numbers, but the reason that, and I don't know how read in you are, I apologize if you already know all of this, but the reason that the city council said there's a homeless crisis is because they needed to rezone the agricultural land so they can put the 25 cars on there. So when we hear us talk about homeless crisis, like that's the reasoning that we're pushing back to say that there's not a crisis, so they can rezone the land. Just a few things, I'm sorry that you had to read that, I apologize. Thank you for being here tonight and going through that. But one of them was asked if violent crimes. If somebody committed a violent crime, are they going to say, yes, I've done that? So just picking a little bit of holes in it. Drug testing, there is no drug testing, and the reason for that is because it's part of the HEAP program. So HEAP is Homeless Emergency Action Plan. That's a grant that's funded by the state. The city of San Diego has a small portion. Jewish Family Services is going to get a portion of this grant to put up this homeless parking lot. $256,000 is with the grant money. That's going to last for, I think it's 1 year. And then what happens after that money is gone, that's a whole other discussion that we can get into. I don't have time for that right now. But on that note, $38,000 of that grant is going to go towards security. So JFS, Leash Tag Foundation, that area is going to be extremely secure. We're not worried about that. We're worried about the people that walk up there or drive up there that are turned away. Where are they going to go? I live in Poinsettia Park, which is directly across the street. We have 6.5 acres of beautiful wooded area that nobody really knows about. There's a lot of areas. But what you guys worry about is the streets, right? So they're not allowed to use drugs and they're not allowed to use alcohol while they're there. If they do, they're going to turn them away. Where are they going to turn them? They're going to turn them onto our streets. It's going to be an extremely dangerous situation when that happens. Or they're going to go downtown and it's going to be a dangerous situation. So the fact that they say they can't do it, yeah, they can't do it on there in their extremely secure situation, but it will be in our community. So we talked about the $256,000. I have the breakdown. I went to the hashtag Q&A yesterday. It was somewhat informative, but the big thing that they released, and I can show it to you if you're interested, is the breakdown of the funds. Does that directly affect the traffic in Encinitas? No, but what it does affect is our taxpayer money. Out of that $256,000, $38,000 of that is going to go towards security. $160,000 of that is going to go towards salaries for JFS. So JFS personnel, we're going to be there. I can show that if you're interested, but I just don't think this is very safe for our traffic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart. Commissioners, before I call on you, I have a couple of comments.
We have one more speaker.
Wait a minute, originally it was only 5, now we're 6, now we're 7. How many are we?
This is our last.
Okay.
Our last speaker is Julie Griboy.
Hi, Council, Commissioners. My name's Julie Griboy. I live in Hine. And I just briefly want to say that this project is not near me, but I'm very, very concerned about it. It will affect the whole city. It will affect all of the traffic. And I'm here largely out of fairness. I think that all of us love where we live. And I'm very concerned about this going in to any neighborhood. There are many issues that have already been outlined here, but I stand in solidarity with my neighbors and friends in Leucadia. And I liked what someone was saying, that we want to raise the awareness for everyone in Encinitas because it will affect us all. I yield up my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gabai.
Thank you.
Okay, now a couple comments. We discussed this topic briefly a month ago, but it wasn't an official agenda item then, so we couldn't talk about it that much. But at that time, it was rather clear that city council was going to vote, I think at the following meeting, which would have been the Wednesday after that. So we made the decision, since city council had already, was doing all the work and not taking any input, not to discuss this item. Since city council has since backed down somewhat, I asked Abe to put on an agenda item on our meeting tonight. As he mentioned in his remarks, he couldn't do this because we have, even though it wasn't an official vote as such, we had voted not to agenda or talk about it. So having him report from the city personnel on this tonight was kind of a compromise. I apologize to Abe for, he was put on the spot by this other person not being able to make the report. But he's trying his best, and I'm kind of the one that's put him in the middle here, so sorry about that. So commissioners, ready for you to make comments. Commissioner Leichness?
Commissioner Leichness, first off, I want to thank everyone who came here tonight and expressed your opinion. This is how democracy works. At our last meeting, I was the one who raised this issue because we had received one or two letters of correspondence regarding this issue, and everyone has correctly identified. This hasn't unfolded under the full light of public scrutiny. So we only had one or two letters, and what I attempted to do was I wanted to acknowledge that. However, as Peter noted, because it wasn't agendized, we couldn't really discuss it. The most important thing, or one of the most important things that this commission does, is provide a public forum to speak, not to just this commission, but to communicate more broadly. So yes, you are speaking to this commission. We are merely an advisory body to the council, but what is said in this chamber is of significance, and it gets recorded in our minutes, and so it's one avenue of attempting to raise visibility of this issue. From my understanding is the original genesis of this was JFS approaching council directly, which is why that worked. I cannot say that I am aware of any sort of secret plan or conspiracy, but that is the way that the initial discussion began. What is important, though, is the public needs to be engaged in this. This is how it will get changed. So this is but one forum. There is, I think you mentioned there was another opportunity to discuss this. And then, of course, there's council meeting itself, which, by the way, is the most important one to really capture the attention and demand further discussion and sharing of information if that is what your position is. So again, I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight. I know this is a very hot topic and justifiably so. I don't believe that there is any sort of malign master plan, but the way to approach it is shed light on it. You are doing the right thing by coming here. We welcome this. We want this input. Attend the other forums, and most definitely attend the council meeting, which is where this initial conversation began. So my thanks to you for coming here. We are receptive to the information that you provide, but it's an ongoing task. You're going to have to attend other meetings, and that is, again, how democracy works. Raise awareness so that there is broader consensus for the position that you are representing. So again, my thanks for coming here this evening.
Commissioner Benson?